Welcome, everybody.
What are you doing?
But then it shut down and...
The movie begins with a journalist interviewing Thomas Harper, a professor who has proven that the afterlife exists. She brings up a serious issue. After his research was published, suicides have sharply increased. She asks if he feels responsible for this, but Thomas surprises her by saying no. Just after this, a crew member thanks Thomas for his work before tragically taking his own life on air.
Andy!
The scene then shifts to the second anniversary of Thomas's discovery. His son, Will Harper, is on a ferry listening to a news program discussing his father's work. A woman sitting next to him, Isla, mentions she was also listening to the program. They start talking, and Will feels that Isla looks oddly familiar. As they discuss Thomas's discovery, Will expresses frustration that so many people still choose to end their lives, but Isla seems to think it's a way for some people to escape their pain. After the ferry ride, Will shares a childhood memory with Isla about an accident when he was 5 years old. He was clinically dead for a minute, but saw flashes of light and a little boy on a beach. After their conversation, Isla leaves in a passing car. Meanwhile, Will's brother, Toby, picks him up and drives him to a large, isolated mansion where their father is continuing his research. Will is shocked to find so many people helping in the mansion. Toby explains that these people had once tried to kill themselves, but now have a new purpose because of Thomas's discovery. Inside the mansion, Will meets Lacey and Cooper, Thomas's assistants, and learns that his father is being periodically put under and revived using machines to continue his work. Later, Will confronts Thomas, accusing him of starting a cult and causing suicides. Will wants his father to take back his statements about the afterlife to stop the deaths. But Thomas surprises him by revealing that Will's near-death experience when he was 5 inspired his research. Feeling overwhelmed by everything, Will steps outside to clear his mind. He spots Isla on the beach, preparing to drown herself. Realizing that she is suicidal, Will rushes into the water to save her and brings her back to the mansion. Before she can stay, Isla has to answer a series of questions from Thomas. After hours of questioning, Isla is finally allowed to stay. Later that night, Thomas gathers everyone in the mansion to reveal his latest invention, a machine that records what people see in the afterlife. However, for the machine to work, Thomas needs a dead body. So, Toby, Will, and Isla decide to steal a corpse from the morgue. At the morgue, Toby distracts the attendant while Will and Isla take the body of a man named Pat Phillips. Before bed, Will opens up to Isla and tells her that his anger toward his father comes from his mother's suicide. Will believes that his mother took her own life because Thomas was too focused on his work to care for her. The next day, everyone gathers in the lab to test the machine. They connect Pat's body to the machine, but nothing shows up on the screen despite Thomas's attempts. Frustrated, Thomas leaves, followed by everyone else. But Will sneaks back into the lab, fixes the machine, and restarts the experiment. This time, the screen shows a video of Pat driving to a hospital, visiting someone, and arguing with a woman. Will quickly turns off the screen before Thomas and Toby return. Thomas insists that the body be returned for cremation, so he asks Toby for another one. Will and Isla take Pat's body back to the morgue and leave it outside. On their way back, Isla suddenly kisses Will, but both of them feel awkward afterward. Later, Will watches the video again and notices a hospital in it. He decides to visit the hospital, hoping to find answers. But when he arrives, the hallway from the video no longer exists. A janitor explains that the hospital had been renovated years ago, and the hallway was removed. Meanwhile, Thomas confronts Lacey at the mansion for telling others about the failed experiment, and as a result, he kicks her out. That night, Will shows Isla the video again and shares his theory. The machine doesn't show the afterlife, but instead records memories from the past. They both agree to visit the hospital together to look deeper into Pat's case and uncover the truth. At the hospital, Will discovers a record about Pat's father, who passed away there 13 years ago. Will later talks to Toby, who opens up about how Thomas has been using the machine to try and communicate with their mother. Toby feels guilty about her death and desperately wants to know if she went to a better place. Will returns to his room and finds Isla, who suggests that the recording from the machine might not even be a memory. She decides to investigate further and realizes that the events shown in the video don't match the reality of what happened. Isla theorizes that they need to find something from the video that still exists in the real world. The next morning, Will and Isla head to the beach, and it's there that Isla finally opens up about her painful past. She reveals that her son drowned at the beach while she was asleep, which is why she wanted to end her life until Will saved her. They then visit Pat's father's house and meet the woman from the video, who turns out to be Pat's sister. She tells them that Pat never visited his father in the hospital during his final days, and that he wasn't well liked by the family because he had treated them terribly. While talking to her, Will notices a lighthouse tattoo on Pat's arm in the video, but the woman explains that Pat had a wave tattoo instead. This leaves Will and Isla even more confused, as these contradictions continue to raise questions about how Thomas's machine works and what it really shows. As Will and Isla spend more time together, they start to grow closer and share a kiss. However, things quickly take a dramatic turn when Toby bursts into the room, urgently informing Will that their father has connected himself to the machine, determined to prove that it works. This time, the machine shows a video from the night of Thomas's wife's death, which also happens to be their anniversary. In the video, Thomas tells his wife that he's working late and they should have dinner together, but Will realizes that this scene never actually took place in real life. After seeing the video, he panics and orders Cooper to shut off the machine, and together they manage to revive Thomas. Once he's revived, Thomas has a sudden realization. The afterlife is not what he thought it was. He concludes that the afterlife is an alternate version of life, where different choices are made. The group agrees that the machine must be destroyed to prevent mass suicides, as people might use it to try to change their lives. Later, Thomas is about to give a speech about his invention, but his plans are interrupted when Lacey unexpectedly shoots Isla. Lacey claims she didn't kill Isla, but instead relocated her. Tragically, Isla dies in Will's arms. Devastated by her death, Will decides that the only way to find peace is to connect himself to the machine. Meanwhile, Thomas and Toby try to enter the lab. In an emotional and final act, Will suffocates himself and finds himself back on the ferry, where he meets Isla once again. This time, Isla reveals to him that he's reliving a memory, as his body is still connected to the machine. They talk, and Will learns that he's been stuck in a loop, repeatedly reliving the moment when he failed to save Isla. In previous lives, he didn't notice Isla's suicide attempts, so he was never able to save her. Each time he died, he would start over, stuck in that same painful moment. Isla tells him that in this life, he did save her, and now he can finally move on without any regrets. Will eventually dies, but before passing away, he promises Isla that he will never forget her.
Concerning me, if we pull him now, we might lose him.
After his death, Will finds himself in the afterlife on a beach, where a little boy is playing alone in the water. Will rushes to help the boy, making sure he's safe. Soon after, the boy's mother, Isla, arrives and thanks Will for helping her son, but neither of them recognizes the other. As she walks away, Will begins to remember who she is, and slowly, the memories of their past together begin to settle in, leading Will to realize the full circle of their story. And that's it for today's recap of the discovery. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.